The moment the DNA test results came in, the world stopped. Probability of parentage, 0%. Not the biological father. John stared at the paper, then at me, then back at the paper. He didn't yell. He didn't cry. He just said one sentence, calm, cold, like a man preparing for war. They stole our son. And that was the moment our revenge officially began. The first thing John did was go down to that same hospital, the one where our son was born, the one where the shortage of nurses excuse forced me into a different ward. Except when John demanded access to the records. The administrator suddenly did not remember anything. She stopped recognizing names. She misplaced logs. She refused to give camera footage from the maternity wing. That's when John knew. This wasn't an accident. This wasn't a mistake. This was a cover-up. When he demanded to speak to the nurse on duty that night, they said she resigned 2 weeks after our baby's birth and had left the state. Gone. Vanished. Just like that. Except we knew she didn't vanish willingly. Somebody was protecting her. John wasn't done. We ran a second test, this time with my DNA included. That's when the truth punched us in the chest. No biological relationship detected with the mother. My legs went numb. My vision blurred. John grabbed me before I collapsed. Our child, our baby boy. The one I held, fed, loved for years. He wasn't ours. Someone had taken my son from me. And replaced him with a stranger's baby. John didn't wait a second. He pulled me close and whispered. We're not losing both children. We're going to find our real son. Every database. Every public record. Every nursing license registry. John dug through everything until he found her new name. She hadn't disappeared. She had changed identities. New job. New address. New life. But social media is a dangerous place. Because the moment we saw a picture of her with a young boy around the same age as our son, John froze. I froze. The kid had my eyes. He had John's jawline. That little boy was our real son. John's revenge was not screaming. Not violence. Not threats. It was legal warfare. He built the case piece by piece. DNA evidence. Medical record inconsistencies. Missing footage. Forged signatures. Nurse's sudden resignation. Her sudden life upgrade after receiving unexplained money. And the final blow, a sworn statement from another nurse who admitted she saw her being bribed by a man. When we walked into court, our lawyer whispered, this might turn into one of the biggest hospital scandals in the state. The judge listened to every detail. Every lie. Every forged document. Every moment our family had suffered because a corrupt nurse traded our son's life for a bribe. And then the judge turned to the nurse, now trembling, shaking, unable to look up. You stole a child. You sold a newborn. And you destroyed 2 families. Then he delivered the sentence. 20 years in federal prison. But that wasn't the real revenge. Not yet. The nurse broke under pressure. She confessed. She didn't just name who bribed her. She told the court why he did it. A man, a wealthy, influential businessman. Wanted a perfect heir. Not the child his wife had naturally conceived. Who had a congenital condition. So he paid the nurse to switch his child with ours. He thought he'd gotten away with it. He thought no one would ever uncover the truth. Until the judge issued a warrant for his arrest right there in court. The entire courtroom gasped. He tried to stand. He tried to speak. But the marshals already had him in handcuffs. His empire, his reputation, his legacy. Destroyed in seconds. All because he thought he could play God. When we walked out of the courthouse, a foster agent brought him out. Our real son. The moment he saw me, he smiled. A smile exactly like mine when I was a child. I dropped to my knees and held him so tight I could barely breathe. 2 years of loss. 2 years of pain. 2 years of lies. Ended with a hug. John stood behind us, crying quietly. The first time I had ever seen him cry. He placed his hand on my back and whispered, "We won. They stole our baby. But we stole their future." The courtroom steps were quiet now. The crowd had gone. Reporters were gone. The screaming, chaos, and cameras had faded into the distance. Only our small family stood under the warm, late afternoon sun. John held both boys. The child we raised. And the son who was stolen from us. They both clung to him naturally, like they had always belonged together. For a moment, he just looked at me, eyes soft, voice low. "We're whole now." I knelt and pulled our real son close. He hesitated for just a second, and then wrapped his little arms around my neck. That tiny hug felt like forgiveness. Like healing. Like every sleepless night finally ended. Behind us, the prison van door slammed shut. The corrupted nurse. The businessman. Their future ended where ours began again. John slipped his hand into mine, squeezing gently. "They tried to rewrite our lives," he whispered. "But in the end, we wrote the final chapter." I looked at our boys, one on each side. And felt something I hadn't felt in years. Peace. Not revenge. Not anger. Just peace. As we walked toward the parking lot, our new beginning. John paused, glanced back at the courthouse one last time, and said, "Justice wasn't just served. It was delivered." We turned away together. For shadows merging into one. Stepping into a future that finally, belonged entirely to us. Fade out. If you enjoyed this story, make sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel for more intense real-life revenge stories. And hey, if you have a story of your own, drop it down in the comments. I might feature it in the next video.